Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm a principal instructor here at Durga Analytics, and I'm really excited to be your guide for this curriculum. We are about to dive deep into data mesh, a concept that is truly changing how modern companies think about and work with their data. Our goal together is to cut through all the hype and build some real, practical skills. So, let's get started. All right, here we are at the very beginning. Module 1, Chapter 1. What is data mesh? We're starting right here for a very simple reason. Getting this definition right is everything. So many data mesh projects struggle or even fail because they're built on a shaky foundation, a misunderstanding of what it really is. We're going to build a clear, solid foundation right from the get-go. Let me start with a question that, might hit a little close to home. Is your company pouring more and more money into data platforms, into hiring data engineers and analysts, but somehow getting a simple answer from your data seems to be taking longer than ever? If you're not in your head right now, you are in exactly the right place, because that's the core frustration data mesh is designed to solve. To really understand the solution, data mesh, you first have to get crystal clear on the problem. And that problem, it lies in our traditional, centralized approach to data. We call it the data monolith. Now, these systems were once best practice, but let's take a look at why they're cracking under the pressure of the modern business world. So, these monoliths tend to fail in a few predictable and pretty painful ways. First, you get what I call the data swamping effect. A central team is told to pull in data from every corner of the business, but they have no local context. They don't know what the data actually means. This creates a messy, unreliable data swamp. That swamp then leads to a scaling collapse. That one central team becomes a bottleneck for the entire company, and their cognitive load is just maxed out. Suddenly, simple requests have a 6-month lead time. And finally, you end up with regulatory fragility. This is the scary one. An auditor shows up and asks, who owns this piece of customer data? And if nobody can give a straight answer, well, you've got a very expensive problem. So, into this chaos steps data mesh. And here's the key. It's not a new piece of software. It's not just a better data lake. It is a fundamental paradigm shift. It's a completely new philosophy for how we think about, organize, and get value from data at scale. To really get why this is such a big deal, it helps to look at the history here. We started with the data warehouse. Think of it as a highly guarded fortress. Everything was structured, rigid, and locked down. Then, in the 2010s, we got the data lake, a massive reservoir with a store everything and we'll figure it out later attitude. Data mesh is the next logical step in this evolution. It's an ecological system where data is alive, distributed, and cared for by those who know it best. Let's put these two philosophies head to head. The old monolith is centralized. One team owns everything. It's technology-focused, and it treats data like exhaust, just a byproduct of business operations. Data mesh flips this entire model on its head. It's decentralized. It's focused on people and process, and most importantly, it treats data as a first-class product, owned by the business domains that create it. That, right there, is the secret to making it scale. And this brings me to maybe the single most important thing you need to remember from this whole chapter. You cannot buy data mesh. It is not a button you can press or a platform you can install. It is an architectural pattern and a new operating model for your company. Seriously, if anyone tries to sell you data mesh in a box, they are completely missing the point. This leads us to a key term you'll hear a lot: socio-technical. It sounds complex, but the idea is actually very simple. It just means you can't separate the technology from the people and the organizational chart. The old monolith way tried to do that. It forced the whole organization to bend to the will of a central tech team. Data mesh does the exact opposite. It designs the data architecture to reflect how your business actually works. Okay, so that covers the philosophy, the what and the why. But how does this actually work day to day? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the mechanics of a real functioning data mesh. The absolute core building block, the atom of the entire mesh, is the data product. Now think of this like a packaged good you'd buy in a store. It isn't just the raw data, that's just the ingredients. It's also the code that processes it, the infrastructure that serves it, and all the metadata, the nutritional label that makes it discoverable, understandable, and trustworthy. It is a complete, ready-to-use unit. So, what does this actually feel like for someone who needs data? Let's say a data scientist needs customer info. They don't file a ticket with IT that goes into some black hole for weeks. Instead, they go to a central data catalog, almost like an internal Amazon for data. They search for high-value customers, find the data product, and click to request access. That request is automatically sent to the product's owner over in the marketing domain. The platform automatically checks policies, and once it's approved, the scientist connects their tool directly to the data product. It's fast, it's secure, and it's self-serve. This self-serve world sounds amazing in theory, but let's make it real. Does this stuff actually work in the messy reality of a global corporation? Let's look at a case study from a major retailer we'll call OmniCorp. OmniCorp had the classic setup, a giant global data lake. Every country just dumped their sales data into this one central bucket. Well, one day, the team in France changed their VAT format, a tiny change without telling anyone. That single change completely broke all the critical sales reports for the US team, who were left scrambling with no idea what had happened or how to fix it. Sound familiar to anyone? Now, fast forward to after their data mesh transformation. OmniCorp shifted ownership. The French team now proudly owned the French sales data product. They were responsible for its quality, its documentation, its reliability. So when the US team needed that data, they consumed a trusted product with a clear owner they could talk to. The result? The time to get that crucial data dropped from 4 weeks of emails and meetings down to just 2 hours. And what happened to the quality of the data itself? It skyrocketed. They saw a 40% drop in null or missing values. Why? It's simple, really. The people who actually understood the data, the French team on the ground, were now directly accountable for making it a great product. Their incentives were finally aligned with the people using their data. And that OmniCorp story really drives home the most critical lesson in all of this. The technology is, frankly, the easier part. The real transformation, the hard part, is about people, about ownership, and about accountability. There's a fantastic saying that just nails this idea. The biggest hurdle in data mesh is not the code, it's the RACI chart. Now, for those who don't know, a RACI chart just defines who is R responsible, A accountable, C consulted, and I informed for any given task. The hardest, most time-consuming part of any data mesh journey is redefining those roles for every important data asset in your entire company. And this work leads to totally new roles. You now have data product owners who live inside the business domains, and they're measured on how happy their data consumers are. The central IT team stops being a gatekeeper and transforms into a platform engineering team, whose main job is to make it easy for the domains to build great data products. And you'll have a federated governance lead who makes sure everyone is playing by the same set of global rules. So let's just pause and bring it all home. Data mesh is not a tool you can buy. It's a decentralized, socio-technical approach that says we should treat data as a product. It's the logical next step in our evolution, born from the failures of the centralized monolith. And as we've seen, it requires a fundamental shift in our roles, our responsibilities, and how we think about ownership. Now that we've established this solid definition, we're ready for the next step. In our next chapter, we're going to dive much, much deeper into the problems we talked about, with a full architectural breakdown called Why Centralized Monolithic Data Platforms Fail. I look forward to seeing you there.